This is All India Radio, Power of Listening. Under this series, tonight we take you on a journey to the world of yet another magnificent facet of the traditional Indian knowledge systems. I am Manoj Mainkar. Concept of human behavior and ethics in Upanishads. In today's episode, we shall be focusing on the ancient Indian knowledge of human behavior and ethics. The experts on the show are Dr. Bhagyalata Pataskar, Educationist, Indologist and former Director, Vaidik Sandshodhan Mandal, Pune, and Veena Raj, Researcher and Fellow at the Bhandarkar Oriental Research Institute. Stay tuned.
ॐ वाङ्मे मनसि प्रतिष्ठिता मनो मे वाचि प्रतिष्ठिता विराविर्म एधि वेदस्य म आणीस्तः श्रुतं मे मा प्रहासीः अनेनातीतेन अहोरात्रान् सन्धदामि ऋतं वदिष्यामि सत्यं वदिष्यामि तन्माववदु तद्वक्तारमवदु अवदु मामवदु वक्तारम् ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. Let my speech be firmly established in my mind. Let my mind be firmly established in my speech. And let us all be protected by what we have heard. Namaskar. Me, Veena Raj, is in conversation with Dr. Bhagyalata Pataskar, former director of Vaidik Sandshodhan Mandal, Pune. In the Vedas, we have the word dharma, which tells us what is to be done. Before we go into the topic, let me share an interesting description from the Kaushitaki Upanishad, which gives us an idea how human actions are impacting our lives here and hereafter. Chitra, the son of Ganga, is the king who is instructing sage Aruni and his son Shvetaketu. Shvetaketu and Aruni, they are Vedajna, they are the knower of Vedas themselves. And from the king, they are learning Brahma Vidya now. The instruction is on the journey of a soul after leaving this body. The subtle description reaches a point where the realized soul comes towards Brahmaloka after crossing many worlds and obstacles. He is at the banks of the ageless river, Vijara. Tells the Upanishad, Sa agacchati vijaram nadim tam manasevatyeti tat sukrita dushkrite dhunude va tasya priya jnatayah sukritam upayanti apriya dushkritam. He comes to the ageless river, he crosses it by his mind, then he shakes off his good and bad deeds as a horse shakes his mane. When a horse has its body wet, it shakes its mane to get freed of the water. In the same way, the realized person shakes his physical existence and all the good and bad deeds escape from him. His dear ones, the ones who love him and are near to him, obtain his good deeds and his enemies obtain his bad deeds. Now we have to think before we like or dislike something or someone. Upanishad takes us further and says the person free from the good and bad deeds, knowing Brahman, advances towards Brahman. The realized soul walks free towards Brahmaloka, leaving everything, good and bad. Nothing is taken with such a person. The one who knows Brahman goes into Brahman. Brahma Vidwan, Brahmeva Vipreti. Ma'am, always it is seen in the Upanishad that it is said, Ya evam Veda, Ya evam Veda. The one who knows thus, he becomes this or she becomes this. What is this intimate relationship between knowledge and behavior? Are the Upanishads assuming that the person who is knowledgeable will always behave in a proper manner?
Correct. Knowledge only influences our behavior. I will tell you one story. In my professor's house, the staircase is bit circular.
Whirling staircase.
Yes, whirling. And one stair is bit high. He told me one step is high. And then he was telling me the same topic, how knowledge changes the behavior. And then a guest came. Guest wanted to go up. Father told him, my professor, Father Francis. Father told him, be aware of the third stair because it is a bit high. And the person started climbing. He heard what Father told him, but still he rumbled. And then he was climbing very carefully. Father told me, see, he heard, he understood.
Yeah.
But once he had experience, then that experience only gave him knowledge, and knowledge changed his behavior.
Yes.
This is a very simple example in our day-to-day life.
Yeah, our
That
experience.
knowledge changes our behavior. And so the Upanishadic seers, they stressed on knowledge, on knowing, and everywhere you will come across these sentences, ya evam veda. In fact, veda here doesn't mean who gains this information, who knows. No, beyond that it means who experiences this.
Yeah.
Once we have the experience, then our attitude changes. Once our attitude changes, our behavior changes. And this is how the experience brings a change. And the Veda means knowledge with experience or experience with knowledge, whatever it is. It is two sides of the coin, knowledge and experience, and both are comprised in the word Veda.
Ma'am, the Ishavasya Upanishad also tells us how to live and how to conduct our works. In the very second mantra, Kurvanneveha karmani, jiji vishit satam samaha. How does the Upanishad tell us to do our works and how to live?
Veena ji, today's topic is ethics. And ethics means the study of wrong and right in human behavior.
Yes.
But what is the viewpoint for wrong and right?
Yeah,
Wrong and right are the relative terms.
Exactly.
So from viewpoint of what something is wrong and from viewpoint of what something is right, all the Upanishads have discussed this point, wrong, right, whatever it is, on the grassroots level. And the Kuruvanneveha karmani, this verse is in this context. One should do the karman. This is correct. But from viewpoint of na karma lipyate nare, from viewpoint of mukti, he is instructed to do the karma. Kuruvanneveha, karman here means duty,
Yes.
not any karma. And when we talk about duty, duty is always with detached mind, nirapeksha. Nirapeksha karma or nirapeksha kartavya. People say that I did my kartavya, I have no expectation. Are kartavya itself means by default that there should not be any expectation. So when Shruti says Kurvanneveha karmani, Shruti tells us that one should perform one's duty, and it is the only say of the Upanishad, of this Ishavasya Upanishad. And further it says that think of living for 100 years, jiji vishet shatam samaha, only through doing karman or performing your duties, one has right to wish to live for 100 years. If one is not ready to perform one's duty, one doesn't want to perform one's duty, one does not want to do any karma beyond duty, one has no right even to think of living. So, Kurvanneveha karmani jiji vishet. And further Shruti says, we have no other alternative than this. So, ethics comes here, that performing our duty and desiring life to perform the duty, this is right.
Yeah.
And this is right from viewpoint of mukti, because this is the path which will lead us to mukti. Here comes the ethics. Then the Ishavasya Upanishad has another message that is equally important. This is the first verse. Ishavasyam idam sarvam yat kincha jagatyam jagat. I quote it completely because really it is very important. It says that everything is governed by Isha. Everything is controlled by Isha. Everything is of Isha. And everything is abode of Isha. These are the shades, different shades of Ishavasya. So take anything in your hand, that thing, even if you think that it is in my hand and I have taken it. No, Shruti says, this action, this thing, your thought and whatever you are doing is governed by another entity, which is Isha. And there is Isha, Vasya, living. It is abode of Isha. So do not behave rudely. Do not behave in indisciplined manner with anything you come across. Yes. I know one Guruji, he used to place a glass on the table very carefully, as if the glass is living entity. And his student placed it harshly and there was bit sound. And Guruji told, oh, no, the glass will get harmed. Don't do like that. Don't do like that. Harm, not damage, harm. Because glass is living entity. This is what the Guruji has assimilated, Ishavasya Sarvam, and this is the message given by Ishavasya Upanishad to us.
Yeah. The student who completes his education at his teacher's place is instructed thus in the Taittiriya Upanishad: Satyam vada, dharmam chara, swadhyayan ma pramada. Speak truth, walk on the path of righteousness, let there be no neglect of your daily study. Then the Upanishad tells us, Matrudevo bhava, Pitrudevo bhava, Acharya Devo bhava, Atiti Devo bhava. Be one to whom mother, father, Acharya, Guru and the guest is a god. After the elaborate Upadesha, the Guru goes further and declares, Yanyasmakam sucharitani tani tvayopasyani no itarani. Practice only those correct observances of ours, not wrong ones. The Vedic rishis were so practical, so humble and direct that they warned the Shishya not to blindly imitate them. If the Guru is doing something wrong, don't copy that. Use your discretion to judge whether it is right or wrong. The amount of caution exercised in teaching young minds is evident here. It is a very big responsibility. Young, impressionable minds should never be betrayed by self-pride or unwanted ritualism. Even though the Chandogya Upanishad tells us Acharyavan Purusho Veda, the behavior of the Acharya should be ethical or else it is to be disregarded. A very relevant and strong message in today's world when one cannot be sure whom to follow and whom not to follow. Ma'am, in the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, Yajnavalkya tells Janaka the signs of a realized person. Tasmad evam vid shanto danta uparatat titikshuhu. All these qualities, how these qualities are important and how they lead us to ethical behavior.
Yes, these are the qualities. Shanta, dictionary meaning is peaceful or calm, but it means the person who has no mental agitations. Mental agitations, that is Shanti. Danta, controlled one. I may control my hand, but there may be some greed in my mind. That greed in my mind is a form of agitation. And there should not be even the greed in the mind, that is Shanti. Once there is Shanti, there is no need of Danti or Danta. But to go to Shanti, to achieve the Shanti, it is better that at least one should start from physical level, Danta.
Yeah.
Then Uparata. One should turn away from the things which may attract him, which may influence him, and which may bring deterioration in his
concentration.
Concentration. So this is Uparata. Even the student is instructed, student who is doing Vedadhyayana is instructed that he should not go to the places where there are many physical attractions. He should avoid such places. So avoiding such places, keeping oneself aloof from such attractions is Uparati. And Titiksha, bearing the two extremes, Dvandva, happily, without complaining. This is Titiksha. And Samahitaha, the another one, in the equal, balanced state. All these are not different qualities. Or it is not that today he will be Shanta, the next day he will be Danta, and finally he will be Samahita. It's not that. Simultaneously one should practice, or once one starts practicing, then all these things, slowly he will acquire these qualities. This is the common understanding of these practices. Who is entitled to study Vedanta? There is Adhikari Sampat, Shamadamadi Sadhana Sampat. These things, Sampat means merits. The one should have such merits, then only he will understand the Vedanta text, etc. So this is what the Yajnavalkya explains, that the person who wants to march towards mukti should try for these qualities.
Yeah, these are summarized in the Bhagavad Gita as a Devi Sampatti and the Asuri Sampatti in chapter 16.
Yes.
Yeah, the Devi Sampatis, they are Abhayam Sattva Samshuddhihi, Jnana Yoga Vivastitihi, Danam Damascha Yajnascha, Swadhyaya Tapa Arjavam, Ahimsa Satyamakrotas, Tyaga Shantirapeshanam, Daya Bhuteshvaloluptam, Mardavam Hrira Chapalam. It goes on. The Devi Sampatis are so many. And then the Lord tells us what are the Asuri Sampatis. Dambho Darpo Ama Abhimanascha Krodha Parushymevacha Ajnanam Chabijadasya Partha Sampatam Asurim. False pride, ego, anger, ignorance. All these are the demonic qualities which should be avoided. Why these are differentiated? Why goodness, charity, control of senses, self-study, not harming any being, satya, truthfulness, not having anger, all these things are deified. They are Devi Sampatti. And why these two are differentiated? Because Devi Sampat Vimokshaya Nibaddhaya Asuri Mata. The Lord tells us, if you are endowed with the Devi Sampatti, you have the chance of being liberated. But with Asuri Sampatis, you are going to be bound. You are again going to be caught in this cycle, in this chain of transmigration. And if these are the good qualities and the bad qualities, the Upanishads have really told us how to live. We cannot live without making our livelihood. We have to attain wealth. We have to have some desire. But then how to act? Again, the Ishavasi Upanishad tells us what is the take regarding the accumulation of wealth or desire for wealth in the Ishavasi Upanishad.
The first verse I told you, Ishavasyamidam Sarvam. My Guruji tells that this first verse contains 4 Purusharthas. Tena tyaktena bhunjithaha ma gridhaha kasyasvidhanam. Tena tyaktena, that is giving up the attachment towards the fruit. Bhunjithaha, you can enjoy the life. The Upanishad instructs, bhunjithaha, this is the imperative. Enjoy the life, but tena tyaktena. Do not indulge, do not get attached towards the fruit of the action. And then it says, ma gridhaha kasyasvidhanam. Don't be greedy of anybody's wealth. Once Upanishad tells bhunjithaha, enjoy, then naturally one would think that okay, I will enjoy my life, and for that I will take anybody's, I will snatch away somebody's wealth or the things or the food or what's, and I will enjoy. Bhunjithaha, Upanishad, no. Ma gruthaha kasyasvidhanam. Do not be greedy, do not take anybody's wealth or belongings. So, ma gruthaha kasyasvidhanam is the artha purushartha. Bhunjithaha is the kama purushartha. Tena tyaktena is the dharma purushartha. One should give up such things and do whatever the duty is. And Ishavasyamidam sarvam yat kincha jagatyam jagat. This is the mukti or jnana, moksha purushartha. This is how he says. So accumulation of wealth is not allowed by the Upanishads, saying that Ma Grudhaha Kasyas Vidhanam. In fact, there is a question mark, according to another interpretation. Ma Grudhaha, do not be greedy. Okay. Kasyas Vidhanam.
Yeah, after all,
Yes,
whose wealth is?
whose is the wealth? We have only two answers for whose wealth is. We know that wealth belongs to capitalist, and others say no, wealth belongs to society. These are the two ends we know about the belonging, about the wealth, or the ownership of the wealth. But Shruti says, gives us the third way, that Ishavasyavidam sarvam, the wealth, everything belongs to Isha. So this is one should not accumulate the wealth. It is because Ishavasyavidam sarvam.
Yeah, exactly. Jnanadeva kaivalyam. Knowledge alone liberates us, and we should be greedy for knowledge and not for wealth, which does not belong to us. Only knowledge can liberate us. Then we have the story of Nachiketas in Kathopanishad, which tells us how important is ethical behavior even while donating, while doing charity. The small boy Nachiketas was gripped by Shraddha, or steadfast devotion, when he saw that everything was being given away by his father in the yajna. But the cows which were being donated did not look the best. They were Pitodaga, Jagdatrina, Dugdadoha, Nirindriyaha, Anandanama te logan stansagachati tadadat. The cows were all old and weak, their water drunk, grass eaten, milked fully, strength spent. The small boy, he thinks that my father will go to those joyless worlds if he donates these cows. And then he asks him, whom are you going to give me to, father? The father gets stunned at the question. He is agitated. Why this boy is asking this question? In Nachiketas, we can see the human conscience. The conscience is warning us. When we are doing charity, when we are giving dana, it means giving up something which you need or is of use to you or is valuable to you. It doesn't mean giving away something which is not worthwhile, which is not useless, and giving something to only people who matter to you. You are expecting something in return when you give some charity or you give dana. That is not what is meant here. In the Karma Siddhanta, we know that whatever we do, all our actions will be fetching its reward. My guru used to tell me, when karma and phala, they are so closely connected that if in a group of 100 cows, if one calf is left, the calf will go in search of its own mother and will drink milk. It will not go to another cow and have milk. The same way, every karma, the result will come searching for the doer. Maybe it is today, maybe it is tomorrow, or maybe after years, and according to the Karma Siddhanta, maybe in your next birth. Isn't it, ma'am?
Correct. Yes. Karma Siddhanta is the center of the philosophy, because the main point of the philosophy is mukti, Brahmatnyan. And we can think of mukti, or we can understand mukti only if we understand the Karma Siddhanta. Whatever we do, we have to pay for it. And mukti means seizing all these things. And for that, we have to behave properly in our life, that we are doing the karma, but the karma will not turn into bondage. That is the state which is expected. So, unless we understand the Karma Siddhanta properly, we will not be able to understand the concept of mukti as explained by the Upanishads. So now point comes to our behavior. The aim of our life is already set by the Upanishads, which is mukti. Another word is charama purushartha. That is the ultimate aim of our life. To achieve that ultimate aim of our life, the only way suggested by the Upanishads is kaivalya, that is knowledge. But Only sitting under the tree, one can hardly get the knowledge. The knowledge means the experience of Brahman. And one can have that experience of Brahman in this life only. And the resource we have is our life. So doing karma without attachment is the only way to attain Kaivalya and thereby Mukti, is the message of the Upanishads.
Yeah, the Karma Siddhanta tells it all. Knowing the truth and behaving in an ethical manner can take us on the path of righteousness, and thereby we can achieve the knowledge of that truth which we call Brahman. We should have an integrated approach where we understand the place of each unit and respect them as a source is one, and we essentially are all one. With this note, let us end today's discussion with the Shanti Mantra. Om Vangme Manasi Pratishtita Manome Vachi Pratishtita Viravirmayeti Vedasya Ma Anistha Shrutam Me Ma Prahasihi Anenaditena Horatran Santadami Ritam Vadishyami Satyam Vadishyami Tanma Vavadu Tat Vaktaram Avadu Avadu Mam Avadu Vaktaram Avadu Vaktaram. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Power of Listening. You heard the 22nd episode of our all-new series on traditional Indian knowledge systems, Behaviour and Ethics in Upanishads. The experts on the show were Dr. Bhagyalata Pataskar, Educationist, Indologist and former Director, Vaidik Sanshodhan Mandal, Pune, and Veena Raj, Researcher and Fellow at the Bhandarkar Oriental Research Institute. We hope you enjoyed it. This series has been conceptualized by Shashi Shekhar Vempati, CEO Prasar Bharati, and produced by Neelima Patwardhan and Vinod Kumar. Special thanks to All India Radio Pune, Amol, Parth and Randheer Thakur for their contributions. This episode is also available on our official YouTube channel, Akashvani AIR. Be there on the 4th of March, same time, same frequencies. This is Manoj Mindkar signing off from Delhi. Bye for now.